Imagine this. You've invested years in getting an MBA, studied countless case studies, and mastered financial models. You walk into the business world expecting to dominate, only to find yourself blindsided by challenges no professor ever mentioned. Sound familiar? That's because there's a significant gap between what's taught in classrooms and the realities of running a business. Today, I'm sharing 7 business truths they don't teach in MBA programs, but are essential for real-world success. These are lessons learned from entrepreneurs, investors, and business leaders who've been in the trenches. They're the game changers that separate those who thrive from those who struggle to stay afloat. Starting now, you'll discover why scaling too fast can sink your business, why passion isn't enough to pay the bills, and how networking often matters more than your resume. We'll also unpack why cash flow is the lifeblood of success and how failure is an inevitable, even necessary, teacher. By the end of this video, you'll have insights that go beyond theory, giving you actionable strategies to tackle real-world challenges. Now, let's dive into the first truth: the hidden costs of scaling. At first glance, growth sounds like the ultimate win, but as you'll see, there's much more to it than meets the eye. Scaling up, 2 words that sound like a dream come true for any business owner. You imagine increased sales, expanded reach, and a stronger foothold in the market. But here's the reality: scaling too quickly can do more harm than good if you're not prepared. This is the first critical truth they don't teach you in MBA programs. When a business scales, everything grows: customer demands, operational complexity, and, most dangerously, expenses. What often gets overlooked is that profits don't always scale at the same rate. For example, you might need to hire more staff, lease bigger office spaces, or invest in advanced systems, all of which drain resources. Without proper cash flow management, scaling can lead to financial strain faster than you expect. Take a small online retailer as an example. They experience a sudden surge in demand, decide to ramp up production, and even take out loans to meet the needs of new customers. But when returns and refunds increase, or payments are delayed, cash flow dries up, and the business struggles to stay afloat. The dream of scaling turns into a nightmare. So, what's the takeaway here? Before scaling, ensure your processes are efficient, your cash flow is stable, and your team is ready to handle the increased workload. Scaling is about more than growth. It's about sustainable growth. Speaking of sustainability, let's explore another truth that's often misunderstood: the role of passion in business. Is it enough to fuel success, or do you need something more? Let's find out in the next chapter. Follow your passion and success will follow you. Sounds inspiring, doesn't it? But here's the harsh truth: passion alone won't pay the bills or keep a business afloat. While MBA programs emphasize financial metrics and strategies, they often ignore the delicate balance between doing what you love and creating value that people are willing to pay for. Passion is an excellent starting point. It fuels your drive, keeps you motivated during tough times, and gives you a sense of purpose. But passion without a plan is like a car without fuel. It won't take you far. A business succeeds when it meets market demand. If you're passionate about something, but there's no market for it, your efforts may not translate into sustainable income. Consider a chef who's passionate about gourmet cuisine but insists on operating in a market that can only afford fast food prices. No matter how passionate they are, their business will struggle. The solution? Align your passion with profitability. Find the sweet spot where what you love intersects with what the market values. Wealthy business leaders understand this. They channel their passion into areas where they can solve problems, fulfill needs, and deliver value. The result? They not only enjoy what they do, but also create thriving businesses. And this leads us to another critical element often overlooked: the power of connections. No matter how skilled or passionate you are, who you know can often outweigh what you know. Let's get to the next chapter to see why networking can be your ultimate business accelerator. In the business world, there's a saying: your network is your net worth. And while MBA programs might teach you the importance of leadership or financial acumen, they rarely emphasize how vital relationships are to your success. Networking isn't just about shaking hands at events. It's about building genuine, strategic connections that can open doors you didn't even know existed. Think about it. The most lucrative deals, investments, and partnerships are often made behind closed doors. These opportunities rarely come from a cold email or an impressive resume. They're built on trust, rapport, and mutual respect. Whether it's finding investors, hiring top talent, or securing clients, your network plays a critical role in accelerating your growth. Consider the example of a startup founder who met their first investor at a casual coffee meetup arranged through a mutual acquaintance. That one connection led to funding, mentorship, and introductions to other key players in the industry. Could they have achieved the same result without networking? Unlikely. The key is to be intentional. Attend industry events, join professional communities, and, most importantly, offer value before asking for anything in return. People are more likely to invest in or collaborate with someone they trust and see as valuable. Now, as powerful as networking is, it's only one piece of the puzzle. Even the strongest connections can't save a business if its cash flow is poorly managed. Let's explore why cash flow is king in the next chapter, and how mastering it can make or break your success. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of making sales and growing a business, but here's the hard truth. Poor cash flow management is one of the leading reasons businesses fail. Revenue is important, but cash flow is what keeps the doors open. This is a truth they don't teach you in MBA programs, but it's essential to understand if you want to stay in business for the long term. Cash flow isn't just about how much money you're making, it's about how much money you're keeping and how efficiently you're managing it. A business may have high sales, but if those sales don't translate into actual cash or are tied up in unpaid invoices, that company could still face serious financial struggles. Take, for example, a fast-growing tech startup. They land a massive contract, sign up hundreds of new clients, and celebrate their impressive revenue. But their clients' payments are delayed by 60 days, and they haven't yet raised enough capital to cover expenses in the meantime. Eventually, the business is forced to take out loans or even consider bankruptcy, despite having significant revenue. The lesson here? You need to prioritize liquidity. Monitor cash flow constantly, manage your accounts receivable, and make sure you have enough runway to weather any financial storms. Wealthy entrepreneurs understand that cash flow isn't just king, it's the lifeline that allows you to make decisions, invest, and grow. With cash flow sorted, let's move on to another key truth: failure. While it's often seen as something to avoid, failure can actually be one of your most valuable teachers. Let's dive into why this is the case in the next chapter. Failure is often seen as a setback, something to avoid at all costs. But here's the reality. Failure isn't the end of the road, it's one of the most valuable teachers you'll ever have. This is a truth that MBA programs gloss over, but it's one that separates successful entrepreneurs from those who give up too soon. Every successful business leader has faced failure at some point. It's part of the process. What sets them apart is their ability to learn from it, adapt, and keep moving forward. Failure teaches you lessons that no textbook or classroom can replicate. It forces you to innovate, refine your strategies, and grow your resilience. Take, for instance, the story of Steve Jobs. After being ousted from Apple, the company he co-founded, he went on to create Pixar and Next, both of which eventually played a significant role in his return to Apple. His failure wasn't the end of his career, it was a crucial part of his personal and professional growth. Failure teaches you to take risks and get comfortable with discomfort. It helps you identify what doesn't work, which is just as important as knowing what does. In business, there are no guarantees. But if you're willing to learn from your mistakes, failure becomes an invaluable tool for success. Now, while failure is an important teacher, waiting for the perfect plan to fall into place will only slow you down. In the next chapter, we'll discuss why action often beats analysis and why the myth of the perfect plan is just that, a myth. We've all heard the saying, fail to plan, plan to fail. While there's some truth to that, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that the perfect plan is the key to success. In reality, this is a myth that can hold you back. MBA programs often emphasize the importance of strategy and planning, but they don't tell you that plans are rarely perfect or even final. Business is dynamic, and the ability to adapt and act quickly is often more important than a perfectly laid out plan. Take, for example, a tech startup that spends months crafting a detailed business plan, only to launch in a market that's already saturated with competitors. Despite their plan being airtight, the market dynamics change quickly, and the startup must pivot or fail. The lesson here is clear: no plan survives the real world unchanged. The best entrepreneurs are those who are prepared to shift gears when things don't go according to plan. The truth is, action beats perfection. Waiting for every detail to be right can lead to procrastination and missed opportunities. It's better to launch with a solid plan and adjust as you go than to wait indefinitely for the perfect approach. Innovation and success often come from iterative processes, testing, learning, and refining. So, let go of the idea that everything has to be perfect. Embrace imperfection and focus on moving forward. Now that we've debunked the myth of the perfect plan, let's explore a powerful rule that can help you maximize success: the 80-20 rule. If you've never heard of the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, it's time to pay attention. This simple yet powerful concept states that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. It's a game changer for entrepreneurs, investors, and business professionals who want to work smarter, not harder. The truth is, success isn't about doing more, it's about focusing on the few things that truly move the needle. Let's break it down. In business, you may find that 80% of your revenue comes from just 20% of your customers, or that 80% of your growth comes from 20% of your products or services. Recognizing this pattern allows you to prioritize your time and resources on the areas that generate the most impact, rather than spreading yourself too thin. For example, an e-commerce business might discover that 20% of their products account for the majority of their sales. Instead of wasting time on low-performing items, they can focus on promoting and improving their best sellers. Similarly, if 80% of your referrals come from a handful of key relationships, nurturing and expanding those connections should be your top priority. The 80-20 rule encourages you to identify and double down on the activities that yield the highest return. By focusing on the most profitable areas of your business, you'll become more productive, efficient, and successful. As we wrap up these 7 business truths, remember that success in business doesn't come from following a set path. It comes from understanding the principles that truly drive growth and profit. Whether it's managing cash flow, learning from failure, or focusing on your highest impact activities, these truths are the foundation for a thriving business. There you have it, the 7 business truths they don't teach in MBA programs. From the hidden costs of scaling and the importance of passion combined with profitability, to the undeniable power of networking and cash flow, these principles are essential for navigating the real business world. We've also seen how failure can become your greatest teacher and why the perfect plan is more of a myth than a reality. Finally, the 80-20 rule shows you how to focus on what really matters to drive your success. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're practical strategies that can transform how you approach business. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, these truths can help you avoid common pitfalls and accelerate your journey towards success. Remember, the business world isn't static. It's constantly evolving, and the ability to adapt, learn from your mistakes, and focus on high-impact activities is what sets successful entrepreneurs apart. So, take these lessons to heart, apply them to your own ventures, and keep pushing forward. If you enjoyed this video and found these insights valuable, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more practical business tips. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on new content. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building the business of your dreams.